Walk through any medieval town in Europe and you'll see roofs still standing after 6, 7, even 8 centuries, their timbers darkened but solid, while modern houses struggle with rot in a few decades. That contrast is not coincidence. Medieval builders knew something modern construction forgot. Wood does not rot because it gets wet. It rots because it stays wet. Today, we're uncovering the medieval roof trick that stopped wood rot cold, without chemicals, pressure treatments, or synthetic barriers, and why it worked so reliably that entire cities were built around it. The medieval solution to rot was not preservation, it was control of moisture behaviour. Builders understood that water will always find a way in, no matter how tight the construction. Instead of trying to seal wood forever, they designed roofs so moisture could never linger. The entire system focused on shedding, breathing, and drying, not blocking. That single shift in thinking is where modern construction went wrong. The core trick begins with roof geometry rather than materials. Medieval roofs were steep by necessity, often far steeper than modern codes require. Snow, rain and debris were never allowed to sit. Water moved fast and left fast. Even in heavy storms, roof surfaces dried quickly. Modern shallow roofs, they tend to trap moisture, especially around seams and fasteners. Medieval builders knew that standing water is really just an invitation for rot, so they eliminated the possibility right at the design stage. Beneath the roof surface, medieval carpenters actually created deliberate air movement. Roof structures were never sealed airtight. There were gaps by design, not by mistake. Air entered at the eaves and exited near the ridge, creating constant passive ventilation. This airflow carried away moisture before fungi could really establish. No fans, no membranes, no chemicals, just physics. Today's roofs are sealed to trap heat, but they also trap moisture, turning roof cavities into, decay chambers. Wood selection reinforced this system. Medieval builders used heartwood almost exclusively for roof timbers. Sapwood was avoided because it absorbed moisture readily and fed insects. Heartwood, dense and resin-rich, naturally resisted decay. Trees were felled in winter when sap content was lowest, reducing internal moisture and sugars. Modern construction often uses mixed wood, kiln-dried quickly, then sealed, which hides internal stress and vulnerability until rot appears years later. Surface treatment was subtle but critical. Instead of paints or synthetic sealants, medieval roofs relied on breathable coatings. Pine tar, lime wash, and sometimes light charring were used to protect exposed surfaces. These treatments repelled water without sealing pores. When moisture did enter, it could escape just as easily. Modern coatings, they actually trap moisture behind these impermeable layers. And once that's breached, decay just accelerates, often out of sight. Medieval builders, on the other hand, saw weathering as a form of protection, not a sign of failure. Joinery also played a role in stopping rot, you see. pegged joints and interlocking beams, they adjusted naturally without splitting. Metal fasteners were really kept to a minimum since they introduced moisture points and internal stress. You know, one often overlooked detail is roof overhangs. Back in medieval times, roofs extended far beyond the walls, which really helped shield those timber frames from constant rain exposure. As a result, the walls stayed dry, and the structural members aged much more slowly. These days, modern minimalist designs tend to reduce overhangs for the sake of aesthetics, but that actually exposes walls and joints directly to the weather. Now, applying this medieval trick today doesn't mean you have to rebuild your house like a cathedral or anything. The principles scale. Increasing roof pitch where possible dramatically reduces moisture retention. Choosing breathable finishes instead of plastic coatings allows wood to dry instead of rot. Even in repairs, the medieval logic holds. When replacing a beam or rafter, it's best to prioritize heartwood and, allow it to acclimate slowly. Make sure that water simply cannot sit against it. Honestly, these steps matter more than any chemical treatment. Chemicals, well, they just delay rot. Design, on the other hand, actually prevents it. What medieval builders understood instinctively is now confirmed by building science. Fungi need moisture, warmth, and time. Remove one and rot stops. You see, medieval roofs cleverly removed time by ensuring wood dried quickly after every wetting. Modern roofs, on the other hand, often provide perfect conditions for decay while trying to fight it with products. This roof trick survived simply because it worked across climates, from wet England all the way to snowy Scandinavia. So, if this deep dive into medieval building logic changed how you think about roofs and wood rot, do consider subscribing to the channel and share this episode with someone who believes chemicals are the only solution. Relic logic exists to uncover why old systems endured and how their logic still applies today, long after the tools have changed.